Hello guys and welcome back to another video. I've gotten early access to the Spectral Penitentiary that will release on the testing servers later tonight on Friday the 16th of August, and I can say it's a really fun dungeon. It offers you 5 different bosses, 4 mini bosses, and you have to do 2 of them to get to the main boss. And I've asked the creator of the dungeon, Marshmallow, to write some text about it, and this is what he says about the dungeon. Spectral Penitentiary takes a lot of inspiration from more traditional roguelike games, having a lot more emphasis on random generation and replayability. I wanted the dungeon to feel snappy with good pacing despite its long length, and I wanted it to create a much more meaningful clearing section with plenty of space to optimize. As big of the dungeon is, the focus and feeling is supposed to be fast and exciting, and I hope I've hit that balance. So first of all, in the dungeon you have to say ready to the main boss, and this will spawn a portal to one of the 4 mini bosses. And the first boss I got here is Griefkeeper Zole, and well, to activate him you have to go around and free the prisoners around the prison. You have to shoot and activate these switches and kill these main enemies in the cells, and that will count towards the objective to get to the boss fight. And this is how all the mini bosses work to activate them. You have to do a certain task and run around and do it, and it's actually pretty fun, and I think this won't get that repetitive in the future because it's a pretty easy clear, and yeah, you can get some loot over the enemies, so that's nice as well. Griefkeeper Zole had different phases where he spawned other soldiers that ran around him, and the main focus of this battle, well, it's just to run around and shoot the boss. It's not that complicated, and it's not one of those bosses that inflicts sick on every shot and does multiple different things. This is a very simple boss, and I'm happy I got it as the first one. But we'll go to the graveyard now, and well, we're gonna dig up some graves. So after you've killed one of the mini bosses, another teleporter will spawn and you will teleport to the main room. And this will grant you the next mini boss you will get, and the next one I got was Groundskeeper Gretch, which is the graveyard. And here you have to run around in these like bigger islands and activate different switches to open up the other rooms to destroy gravestones. And well, you're digging up the graves, so you're a grave looter, you could say. This fight was much harder in my opinion, but it was a challenging one, but I thought it was very fun, and excuse my admin wand in my inventory, but I just had a brief time to do the clear, so I had to speed that up. But other than that, I really liked this fight, and I think this had really good potential to be one of my favorite fights in this dungeon. So the next mini boss, and that is Dr. Lobotomik in the laboratory. This was a very weird time because it took a long time for me to understand how to activate this and to finish the objective, but you had to run around and get these like blobs to follow you, and then you had to drag the specific blobs to their specific towers in the middle of the rooms, as you can see here on the footage. It took me like 3 minutes to figure this out. I was shooting these like spawners of the blobs, and well, I figured it out now. But I thought this fight was really cool as well. The boss turns into different stages and different insects, and it's quite an interesting fight. All these boss fights would probably be released in a complete Spectral Penitentiary video, and that will probably be released on Saturday or something, so stay tuned for that. So I'll release footage for the whole boss fight of all the different 5 bosses, as I can't show all the boss fights here because that would take too long. Last but not least, we have the Overseer Oculon. This is a very interesting room and set design. I really like the interior here. It feels like a Shatters type-esque location, and it feels very ancient and holy. So here the objective was to run around and destroy different pylons in different rooms. This is probably the most simple of rooms. It's just to go up to the pylon, shoot it to destroy it. But as you can see here, the boss, well, it's a big eye. You can call this maybe the realm eye or something. And one thing I haven't mentioned here in this video so far is that you can have a speedrun or hard mode version. So apparently there will be a timer popping up when you open the first room after the tutorial in each mini boss, and if you complete the objective in a certain time range, it will become a hard mode. The hard mode is a slightly harder version, but Marshmallow, the creator of the dungeon, said that it's not that much harder, but the chances of getting loot is significantly increased. So there's a risk versus reward here that I think a lot of people will choose, because if you learn how to do the specific fights, well, you can do it with an increased chance to get loot. As you can see here, the Overseer Oculon here, there's a lot of sick bullets, and I think I actually got the hard mode, because this was actually quite hard, and I almost died like 3 times at this boss fight. So we have the last boss left. Well, after you complete the second boss of the 4 that you've gotten, because you only need to do 2 of the mini bosses to get to the Soul Warden Murcian. And well, this is the final boss, and this was pretty hard. And you can see in this footage there's a lot of bullets, and you can see that there's 3 different key type things that were surrounding the boss, and I had to focus them sometime. I had to guess what I was going to do during the whole fight, so it took a little bit longer than it would normally take if you know how to work this boss. And there's quite a good balance of pet stasis bullets, sick bullets, and then we have, of course, have the final rage fight that we saw in the trailer. This is when the floor turns completely black, and we have like a patience phase that you have to destroy these 3 keys to be able to destroy and damage the boss. But as you can see, I completed it on my first try on a priest, so the Tom got me very, it saved me a lot of times, and I would recommend you to try this out for the first time on testing now, or when it releases on prod, on a priest or paladin that you are a little bit safer than a normal class. But let's not end the video here. We have some UT items to go over, but I will release a specific video tomorrow where I will go over all of the different items in more depth than I would do right now, because the video is already at 8.5 minutes long. So yeah, I'm just going to show the sprites and we'll take a look on the items tomorrow, but some of them seems to be really promising and be really fun to use. Here, the first item is Tools of the Tarnished, which is a katana. Then we have Wretched Rags, which is a robe. Then we have Overwhelming Axehead, which is a star. Then we have Motivational Megaphone, which is a loot. I love this sprite. Then we have the Sinister Syringes, which is a quiver. Then we have Cackling Straitjacket, which is a leather armor. Then we have the Command Cornea, which is an orb. Then we have Ocular Entrapment, which is a trap. Then we have Damnation, which is a sword. Then we have Deliverance, which is a wand. Then we have Pandemic Poison, which is a poison, of course. Then we have Boundless Vessel, which is a heavy armor. And then we have Amulet of Restoration. And, well, this Ami is pretty nice. And I will tell you what this does in the next video I will release. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see that video. But each of the mini bosses will drop 2 specific white bags for themselves. But the last boss, the Soul Warden Murcian, will drop all of them, and his specific white bag, which I heard from Marshmallow, was the Damnation, which is the sword, which is a flail, and yeah, looks pretty awesome, not gonna lie. And some other information for this dungeon. This dungeon is receiving a single attack exalt. So if you complete this, well, you will exalt 1 attack. That's pretty nice. And with the hard mode, the bosses will taunt you when the timer is up for the hard mode to be gone. But if you finish before the taunt from the specific mini-boss, well, you will have hard mode activated and you will get more loot. So yeah, you have to check in chat and see if the bosses taunt you or not, because if they do, well, the hard mode is not there and the chances for your survival is increased. But that is everything in this video. Please join my 12k giveaway down in the description if you want some free gold. And I thank Marshmallow and Deca for giving me some early information for this dungeon. It sure looks really cool and I'm waiting so eagerly for this to be released on the production servers. And hopefully that will be very soon. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you guys later in another video. And that will be where I go over all the new UT items.